every single time at the beginning because the Illuminati is trying to get me or something like that. I'm not sure what's actually happening. All
Yeah, they sent
right.
me an email.
I think that's it. They know what power KBS has.
Over. I think it was Anthem. Anthem was the one who stopped the stream because they know we're just gonna talk
They
shit on
know.
Anthem.
They know.
All
It
right.
was Todd Howard. He's listening.
Why with the band hammer? He's ready. So real quick, we have the hype before the game. Before the live service game, so we're talking about live service games. We're going to be talking about the hype before the game, the launch, when the game launched, right after the game launch, the reception, and then post-launch, which is any time after the game launch, whatever the game did after launch. I think that we should start with kind of the granddaddy of all games to start, which is World of Warcraft. I think that's the one that will go down as the legend of live service games. The one who knocks. You know what I mean? Henson, I think you're going to be the resident expert here for World of Warcraft. So I'm gonna ask you a few questions here, if you don't mind. Now, do you remember when World of Warcraft was launched and the hype beforehand, or any of that stuff? Were you there for any of that?
Oh, I was there. It was November 2004, if I'm not mistaken. I'd like to, really quick, I think EverQuest was the one that kind of launched the model that WoW uses. So it was kind of first, but WoW was the now
Right.
biggest. It's the monster. It's the big daddy.
No, well,
Uh, it's
no.
the one everybody knows.
We'll go into EverQuest next. We'll do that one next. But World of Warcraft was a huge departure from the Warcraft series, as Warcraft was known as being an RTS. And well, I guess this goes into my next question, what you said. So, do you think EverQuest kind of affected Blizzard's choice to move into the MMORPG? Do you think they saw
I
that?
do. I do. I'm pretty sure there's a documentary about it, about the life of EverQuest, which Blizzard was kind of trying to do what EverQuest was, but in their own way. And in with Blizzard succeeding is one of the things that actually killed EverQuest, because they did so many things that much better than EQ did originally.
No,
So
I know right off the bat when it first launched, it was kind of the same to EverQuest, wasn't it? In the sense of kind of like looking off of each other, or did right out the gate did it come out with features that kind of overtook EverQuest?
EverQuest began quite a few years earlier, so they were already at like a hardware disadvantage from what they were building on compared to how WoW was able to start. I think EverQuest has maybe 25 expansions, which are considered full expansions. WoW only has 6 right now. It's either 6 or 7. So comparatively, EQ was just pushing out content. I mean, I think it was they would release 2 full expansions every year for 10 to 12 years. But yeah, I remember when WoW originally came out, it was the cinematic that they showed at first, which they were showcasing all of the classes. You remember the dwarven hunter with the bear? It shows
Oh
his
yeah.
rifle, and then it shows the human wizard casting the fireball, and then it shows the warlock with the giant summoned creature behind him, and that's what kind of hyped everything up.
I just saw a meme the other day that said it showed Chris Pratt in a picture of his face, and it said Warcraft cinematics. And then it showed a picture of Chris Pratt's character from Lego and said Warcraft gameplay. And dude, those cinematics got you. They got you feeling some type of way. Matt, you've played Diablo. I know you played Diablo. Those
A little bit,
cinematics,
yeah.
those cinematics in Diablo, they get you, dude. They really get a hold of you. You're like, oh shit, dude, they took some time into this. But so on the launch, launch day, World of Warcraft has came out. Was there? Do you remember any server issues, anything like that
Sorry.
happening?
Give me one sec.
Oh, you're good.
Charging.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't. I was a freshman when it came out, and I don't remember much about the release because I hadn't played too many MMOs back then. I remember it was very hard because it was vanilla WoW, of course. It was hard for me because it was the first MMO I was really diving into. I didn't know what to expect, what I was in for. I wasn't the one that was on top of every single expansion release. Like, my account has the content has been completed. I'm now ready for the new
Right, right,
release.
right.
I was so on and off. It was the new releases that made me come back to the game after my breaks, actually. Like,
Okay.
I'd play the new content, I'd, play for a few months, start on something else. A year later, they're like, yo, new World of Warcraft expansion. I'm like, okay, I need to get back in World of Warcraft. I think every expansion has gotten me back into it.
Now,
That's just how I was.
we have a couple comments here from Adam Bond, which Adam Bond
Ooh,
said.
Adam. That's one of my buddies.
Adam says, RuneScape's a big daddy too. He also says
Ooh, that's true.
RuneScape
That's
Life
true.
Matters, which I know Henson and Matt have definitely put their hours into there. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And Adam also says, I remember watching the Cataclysm announcement trailer with you, and
Yes.
we were
Yes.
geeking out.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Deathwing, the new races.
So World
Yeah.
of Warcraft was able to sustain that hype even throughout content add-ons and stuff like that. Even the announcement for a content add-on would get people hyped up for this game. That's how I think that's what's so crazy about World of Warcraft for me is like they'll announce the expansion, right? At least what I've seen for like Battle of Azeroth, they announce the expansion and then they wait a little bit before giving you the full details on what the expansion has in it, right? And people were just freaking the fuck out that it was called Battle for Azeroth. You know what I mean? It got to that point with the hype that they were content with knowing the name of the expansion. That was what the new exciting thing for them was. Which I think as a you know what I mean? That just goes to show how much of a fucking tyrant World of Warcraft has become in the MMO thing. When it comes to MMO RPGs for me, it is World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy XIV. There's no in-betweens. There's no other people kind of whirling around there, at least for the big two tyrants of the series. I feel like World of Warcraft has just the depth of so much content to explore to it, as to where Final Fantasy XIV almost has this... what's the best way to put Final Fantasy XIV? Final Fantasy XIV was literally almost made to be a WoW killer and to have certain, I feel like, features that WoW didn't have, so that people who didn't like WoW could go to Final Fantasy XIV, and they killed that as well. So right now we're talking a little bit about. So the reception was good. So we're now talking about post-launch of World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Anything else
Well,
you want to add in here?
I loved how they added the content in WoW, and I'm sure that other MMOs have done this since. But not only would they release an expansion that would have the new content from day one, the 2 years of the next 2 years of that expansion, you would play through the added content. Like every month, they'd have they release the new WoW, and it's like WoW version 8 right now, I think it is, right? So like a month later, they'll have 8.1, and 2 months later,